board for this game as Galio, another mainstay of this patch.
Yeah, surprising to see Moon's Evelynn still getting banned out. I know it's fearsome, I respect it, but not quite sure it's still necessary at this point. Let it's the Zoe treatment, you know, let him beat somebody with it. I guess CLG just doesn't want that to be them.
Maybe not, as Gangplank going to be the ban there from Clutch with maybe Varus. Yep, Varus locked in for auto, so had a great game on it yesterday. It's going to run it back here for Friday.
Yeah, a little surprised to see the Varus first pick go over. No other AD carry bans, plenty of options still on the table. Ryze and Azir are up, and so you don't really need to reach for either one of those. You can play both sides of the matchup if your mid laners are comfortable with that. And then there's a lot of priority picks already taken off the table with that Galio, Camille, Gangplank, Skarner, Zoe band. A lot of those are often the first picks that you see. So less power picks on the board, generally speaking.
Yep, instead Azir there for Sun, and looks like a jungler, yep, Kha'Zix for Moon. So we'll see if Tuesday wants to go back to Syndra. Had a decent game on it. It really applied a lot of pressure in the top side between Omar and Fallen Bandit. Syndra's just a great champion for supplementing your top side already winning.
And it's a little bit easier of a matchup too into the Azir. When you play the Ryze side, it can be a little difficult. We saw Palafox play and get solo kills, so it's absolutely a skill matchup. But when you have Syndra, it is more under your control. So no surprise here to see CLG most likely taking that pick. A little bit more kill pressure, a little bit easier wave management, and so it's just a bit of a safer phase.
Yep, run back there for Tuesday as he will take Syndra. And again for Fallen Bandit. So pretty much all the pieces as the win yesterday back into place. The only difference so far is no Kha'Zix, but oh my god, got that taken away from him by Moon.
Yeah, and the Gnar pick is probably the highest priority top laner. We've seen him just get blind picked into everything. Doesn't matter. As soon as GP's out, Gnar rises to the very, very top. So he gets grabbed up there. Ornn is something that it feels like it's a really strong pick, and yet teams don't seem to like playing it a little bit. I think it's just most tops want to play the carry versus carry style, especially down here in Academy. And so the Ornn pick doesn't see as much play.
And I think similar to GP, you often fall behind in lane. GP has more built-in like mechanisms to keep himself ahead or even get ahead.
Right.
But I think Ornn, even when you fall behind, your team fight presence is so good that you scale well into late game, but just in a different way.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like you really catch back up to the game, whereas GP, give me 2 items, I'll hit my barrel chain and I'll blow somebody up. Ornn doesn't quite have that kind of resurgence if he falls behind. He's still useful, like you said. You'll hit your ultimates, you'll set your team up for success, but the individual playmaking is not there.
Could be a flex as well. We see some support on, though I'm not suspecting Vulcan to go for it here. Tom Kent and Alistar banned away though, so that pool is shrinking, and Tristana, the ban from CLG Academy, so really just trying to get the best possible bot lane matchup.
Yeah, and it could be the case where they're pinching the support position because they do intend to flex that. Also could be setting up a Taric pick. It's something that a lot of people really like playing. The Xayah ban coming in, a little surprising. Usually you're only really scared of Xayah if the Xayah Rakan combo's up, and since Clutch can only grab one half of that combo, it would never be together. But either way, they go for that Braum, one of the ones left up. We were mentioning the Taric pick. A lot of people like that just for its teamfight ultimate power.
Yeah, and probably the pick here for CLG Academy. It feels like a lot of their success is coming in team fights, not necessarily in like strong arming their laners and winning that way just by blasting a lane. So I like these kind of things, and Taric will be the lock-in here.
Yeah, and like you said, CLG Academy doesn't really have standout laning, gonna smash you kind of players like you see with Mickey or some of these other players, and it's very understandable that they're focusing more on that team fight. And the Warwick.
Oh, it's locked in. I was like, good, the old CLG flashback. Stixxay does it every game in the LCS.
Yeah, I'm
it's
so
his favorite champion, but hey, actual Warwick pick
I'm
here.
actually so used to seeing the CLG like colors and name that when I see Warwick covered, I'm like, that's nothing's gonna happen there.
Well, wrong today. Oh my god, actually going to be going for Warwick here, as Clutch will round out their bot lane. Ezreal will be a pretty safe one for Piglet.
Yeah, he's played a lot of it. One of his
back to Cog maybe though.
Kog'Maw would be interesting if they actually end up going with this. It got nerfed on 8.3.
It did.
And a lot of people think it is a pretty substantial nerf because what made Kog'Maw so powerful was the Ginsu's double on hit effect with the W when it was at 7% would be 14%. It got knocked down to 5%, but if you factor in the Ginsu's effect, it's actually down to 10%. So it's actually a pretty substantial nerf when you look at how much extra damage you're getting on a single item power spike.
Yep, and it has been rebuffed slightly on 8.4, but not there yet. So Piglet did play it yesterday, was playing aggressive, was trying to, strong arm his lane as expected of Piglet. Unfortunately, that did not go well, and that lane got run over in short succession, but maybe a different story here for Piglet today.
Yeah, Kog'Maw is one of those champions with a relatively volatile laning phase. When you start dying, you lose your summoners, you have no built-in escape mechanisms, and so you are very prone to reganks. So that can go sour pretty quick.
But if you do start snowballing, Kog'Maw is surprisingly good at 1 or 2 items. They're just really pushing the pace of the game. So with the aggressive dual lane, I like what they're thinking here, but I'm just going to let Piglet show what he can do. It's kind of how he's always been as a player ever since he entered NA, it's felt like. So we'll leave it on Summoner's Rift for today, but certainly some fun stuff.
Yeah, I think the thing we have to talk about is the Warwick.
Press the attack, Warwick.
Press the attack, Warwick. It's been picked a lot in solo queue. Actually has a pretty good win rate, and a lot of people like the champion, but he is deceptively complex in terms of his mechanics. Knowing exactly how to use your E to get the damage reduction versus when to fear people in the correct direction. Your Q mechanic in terms of ending up behind people and following them. These are like really slight things that are important to understand if you're going to play the champion. And so hopefully MarkZ has that all locked down, because if you're just pressing R, while that can work sometimes, it's not nearly as effective as you can be.
No, and it's not even as easy as it used to be on old Warwick.
Oh, no,
a lot of things change. You actually have to hit the enemy with your skill shot. So we'll see what happens. But Rejuve actually joining that machete there for MarkZ. So interesting stuff.
Yeah, the Warwick passive still
Makes
very
sense.
powerful. Keeps him
lifesteal.
very healthy in the jungle. So you don't really need to go pots. Rejuve, interesting to see. Well,
Tiamat? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what it clears into. A lot of people do go Tiamat in the jungle with him. Speeds up his clear speed, as well as look at the kind of on-hit effects from his ultimate. A lot of people end up with that stuff.
Well, see what happens here in the jungle. Moon, though, starting off with blue. Piglet and Vulcan helping out. Smiteless first buff there for Moon, so he's off to the races. MarkZ has less friends to help him on the top side. That
but
like his blue.
Something very interesting happened where Otto and Phil sat at the Krugs and made it seem like they were leashing for MarkZ, and Fallen Bandit started it in lane. So they've kind of masked his starting position, and they might get a gank off on that immobile bot lane that we were talking about. So we'll need to track that one.
So we'll have to see is back in mid lane Tuesday, the matchup he played yesterday. See how he fares versus the Azir, but like we expected, Piglet and Vulcan playing up and aggressive. Nice dazzle from Phil. Gets a poke in onto Vulcan, but complete control of this lane right now. Could win the race pretty handily to level 2, although it's going to be tight.
Yeah, and this is so great of a strategy by CLG Academy. You know Piglet plays aggressive in lane. He'll be pushing for this level 2. If the Warwick can get down here within the next minute, this lane will probably still be on the CLG side of the river, and there might be a gank setup coming.
See if he wants to go towards the bot lane after the red buff, kind of the expectation. Piglet, they're already taking some poke as well. Going to make Omar's job a little easier. I also see a ping, so nice read here perhaps, Mr. Zimmerman.
Well, we'll have to see. This is one of those times I love talking about what's going on the map. Orin actually got priority in top lane and ran down and put a ward in the top side jungle of CLG Academy that spots out both the blue buff and the Gromp. And both are already taken, so that might be an indication that the bot lane that MarkZ has to be down here.
Might be too late though. Oh, great Q there from Vulcan. Finds a Warwick, flash forward, looking for a one. Piglet finds a fear. Flash dazzle from Phil. Everybody's in there. And the Kog'Maw got ignited, but that's not enough.
You saw there the mechanics that we were talking about with the fear and the Q. He starts the fear, starts channeling it, gets the Q behind after the flash to try and scare them in, but not quite enough damage to actually finish off the kill. He had to use the Q as a gap closer as opposed to on damaging Piglet. So with that, Clutch Gaming are able to survive that first gank attempt that felt like it was kind of in the books for a long time on that side.
Yep, certainly it was brewing for a while, but dissipates there in the bot side as Phil burnt all his summoners for the kill and did not find it. Piglet also out, so there's a trade in that regard. See if Piglet can stay a little safe. Actually already back in. Got a longsword now to join some potions after that Doran shield, so shouldn't be feeling too bad about this early lane.
And a good job by Sun kind of getting mid-priority in this matchup, allowing Moon to go in there for those invades. It's a little dicey sometimes. If Syndra can walk over there and get a stun, you get that kind of follow-up CC. So good coordination on the Clutch Gaming mid-jungle duo.
And again, Tuesday definitely getting a lot more priority in this matchup yesterday, but certainly a lot of skill involved in making sure you put things in the right place, and Tuesday is getting harassed a little too hard there. MarkZ though going to face check. He might follow with a Q. Flashes instantly there. He's going to go in for it, and that should be first blood. MarkZ collects it.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about, that Q mechanic, making sure you follow through with them. The Azir flash is timed correctly by MarkZ, gets the follow, gets the kill. Really well done by MarkZ. You get to see those Warwick mechanics. He's clearly played the champion a little bit here.
That was a follow. I actually thought it was a flash, but it's just him following along Omar.
Yeah.
Because I thought he flashed the ball, then I was like, how did that happen?
Yeah, it's just one of those visual things where, as a spectator, sometimes you don't get the follow quite right. So that it was very snappy that instant.
Well, we'll watch it again, and this time I will learn how it looks as Sun. Bad time to face check here for Azir.
Yeah, he's got the speed buff on him as well, so you see how it snapped like that. It's very understandable to think why that was a flash, but that was actually a Q follow. So just well done by MarkZ, and Sun being a little too lax with his kind of movement around the river. They knew MarkZ should have been up there. They had some visions in the bot side jungle, saw him leave that side. You have the blood scent on you, you got to be careful.
Yeah, well, he was not, and as a result, first blood over to Omar. We'll see what he spends that gold on, and it is that Tiamat accelerated pretty nicely after that first kill. Even has the second part of that jungle item as well, so he's going to be power farming through this.
Yeah, getting that pre-6 minutes, pre-level 6, like all that stuff is just great for the Warwick. So what can oftentimes be a little bit of slow jungle clearing if you're just autoing all the little raptors, all the little chickens, that can be a bit of a nightmare. But now that he's got that Tiamat, he'll be able to keep up with the Kazakhs who can clear a little faster on his own.
Checking back here in mid, Tuesday 6, but Sun still pressuring in. Good stun from Tuesday, but Zero actually moves forward, trying to get a bit more aggressive. Omar back to business in bot side though. Although Moon is invading to try and, I think, spot him out, but doesn't really want to fight 1v1.
Nope, this is a lot of skirmishing down here with both junglers hovering, and Sun is starting to make his way down too.
Auto takes some damage, but heals there from Phil. Help out. Moon centered up. Should know he's in the vicinity at least, as Omar safely takes the rest of his camp. Like you mentioned, Sun was roaming down, but Tuesday's going to reverse that back, and Auto Phil should be safe for now, with their teammates roaming down to make sure no dive happens.
Auto Phil always sounds so funny to say that, but yeah, they're doing good in that matchup. The Warwick as well, a little bit ahead, so that's the 500 gold lead that you see for the side of CLG Academy. But otherwise, the lanes are almost exactly even.
Yeah, I was going to say, if everyone's curious about this lane, don't worry. Not much is happening. On and not just farming things out. MarkZ, they're doing a nice job keeping up in CS, which can be tough sometimes.
And it's worth noting that the Gnar-Ornn matchup is not always supposed to go even. We saw Huni play that against Solo, I believe, one time and was up about 50 CS. So you can pressure that pretty well if you are actually the Gnar, but his first back was not ideal. He had to go and pick up a Doran's Blade, I believe, and that's all he got out of it because he lost the early trades. So he doesn't get a great item. Ornn can build a Glacial Shroud in lane with his passive, so he gets to have those extra resists, which is why it feels like Fallen Bandit is struggling to build a substantial lead.
Yep, 2 extra cloth arm as well as Omar again at level 6 ready. Doesn't let it rip though. Moon immediately forced out of his jungle though. There's nothing he can do here.
Not able to follow the leap that time by MarkZ. It is very hard to do, so timing your Q with other people's movement abilities. And like you said, didn't pull the trigger there. Maybe could have done it given that Fallen Bandit had already collapsed. But they were scared of going for deep dives around the jungle mid lane against Nazir. He's notorious for scooping you into the mid lane under turrets when you didn't think that's where you'd end up.
Yep, and I think at this rate, CLG Academy just know they have a lead on the top side of the map. Sure, Fallen Bandit and Tuesday aren't exactly smashing their lanes, so CS is even, but they're most of the time able to get priority and open up space for Omar, which is how the game went yesterday. We'll see if they can continue or if Clutch can answer either from the bot lane or by making something else happen here. Around one of their solo laners here as Moon is pretty persistent in trying to get vision down and invade, despite the lead that Omar's built.
Yeah, they have a lot of vision on that red buff. They know he's not there, so they expect a mid lane fight.
Great flash from Tuesday. It lets the ult back in as Omar also here looking for the fear. Doesn't quite find it. Finds the ulti though. Now going to suppress Sun for quite a while. Damage still moving up, but Omar took a little too much as Tuesday forced the heal. Takes out Sun on the other end. Moon gets pushed back by the E, and Omar gets away with it.
Yeah, MarkZ having to run away too as both top laners were trying to collapse. And there you see just the slight ease of execution that we were talking about on the side of CLG Academy. We said why the Syndra is sometimes a little bit preferred over the Rise pickup there. The jungler presses R, locks him down. You press R and bring the damage. So a really nice combination by the Syndra.
Burst Dazzle missing. Combo into the Glacial Fissure. Auto flash, but Piglet knows that's a kill. Takes one down. Now going to stun in onto Phil as Omar roaming down to try and save it. Going to be a 2v2 in just a second. Piglet, a juke on the Dazzle. Omar's presence will prevent the kill, but Piglet just pops off in the bot lane.
Yeah, sees his team kind of falling apart around the mid lane, knows he has to start exerting some pressure down the bot side. And they get that kill in the 2v2, very impressive.
15 CS ahead, probably going to be 20 by the time this wave goes down. Phil is going to try and pull this wave a little bit, but Vulcan's here to make sure that doesn't happen. Omar maybe just collects it instead, but really tight looking play out of Piglet here on the Kog'Maw, and Goes back with that longsword. What does he follow?
We'll have another look at the mid lane action. And there you see, you just get to press R, get all your damage out. Tries to get over for the fear. Not able to do it. Gets him low enough, though, that Tuesday can get the cleanup. It's not enough to be able to chase him down. Then here's that 1v1. Otto walks forward one more time to get an auto in. That's kind of what spelled his doom there, because it gave Piglet the last hit he needed to prop the Braum passive. And this is one of those matchups where it's a race to Ginsu. Whoever gets it first will be way stronger in the 1v1. So the fact that Piglet was able to find that kill there, as well as having the big CS lead, is actually a bit of a disaster.
Yeah, you can see, again, still about 20 CS ahead. Two good components there for Kog'Maw. No blasting one rearing its head just yet, but Ginsu should be on the way shortly. You can see that total gold difference. 700 gold up for Piglet. That is a good lead as far as that race goes.
Yeah, he's going back now. We'll have to see if the 600 gold was all he needed to actually finish it. And I think he was on, like you said, a pickaxe and a
Rico plus the longsword. So it's not. It's actually just a swap here from Clutch.
Yeah, not quite enough gold quite yet. So looks like they want to speed the pace of the game up, given that they're going topside. And if the Gnar's in mini form and Max Strobo has his ultimate up, they can potentially kind of bait a fight here.
Does have his ultimate, so we'll see if this all lines up. Fallen Bandits rage about 75% of the way through. Piglet and Vulcan very sneaky here.
But there's a bit of a tell. The bot lane wave has pushed into the turret, and Piglet and Vulcan have not shown up, so they probably know this is coming on the top side.
Maybe a dive at Fallen Bandit, about to go Mega. Moon is here as well for the dive. Goes in Viz, but the ward will spot him instead. It's actually just an old-fashioned tower push.
All 4v0 tower push, my favorite.
I really hope it's one of your favorites. Down there for Tuesday in onto Sun. There's the jump in from Omar, going to suppress Sun down. Goodbye. And the tower goes down. So a trade, but I guess you'll
CLG showing their skillful play. I press R, you press R, enemy dies. But hey, I mean, they drafted to this power in the mid lane and they're playing towards it perfectly. The CLG Academy side laners are doing their best to trade, but at this point, it's going to be a very hard time for Kog'Maw. He's going to basically be the Kog'Maw versus the Warwick Syndra show is how it feels like it's going with this game.
Yeah, I wonder if that will become a future story for Piglet and friends here on Clutch, but CLG still, again, moving as a squad, going to start this Drake off. To Clutch's credit, their bot lane did get first turret gold, so a bit of an extra gold advantage for at least that side of the map, but CLG still up about 1,000 gold. They take the first Ocean. Moon is going to try and trade this away for the Rift Herald and should be able to do so successfully, unless Fallen Bandit has something very sneaky up his sleeve. Moon does have Smite, but he's like, oh, I don't know what to do because I don't have any health left. Forced to hop away, Fallen Bandit's like, all right, I guess we'll take it. Now I'm going to just start the buff and told a lie perhaps. Looks like Rift Herald's going to go over to CLG if they can just buy a little bit more time.
Yep, trying to stall it until Warwick shows up. You can
there
see
he
Patience barred about a third. Now that Omar got here, he's going to be able to finish that one. Doesn't actually even smite it.
It doesn't have it, actually. But Moon, I think, realizing that, hey, can't really stay in that situation with no health. So, nice play from CLG Academy. Get both the major buffs on right and left side of the map. Omar face checks, finds one, but does not go. No ulti, unfortunately, for him.
Yeah, he knew where he was, had the smell on him, couldn't quite find the kill, though.
I believe Warwick Q has some fun interactions with basing as well, so we could have seen the longest fountain teleport.
Yeah, we've seen some fun stuff like that. Remember the, what was it, the Froggen versus Faker 1v1s where he ended up in base? What champion was he playing?
Olaf? Was that All-Star?
Yeah, because they got marked and he followed.
Yeah, that was Olaf. I think Doublelift was playing some other champion, but I'm pretty sure Froggen was playing Olaf. And 2 games in a row, he just found his way magically face tanking a laser. I miss those days.
Yeah, hopefully we get to see that. Wouldn't mind.
just a one-time.
Just some spice here, you know.
He's already done the good play with the follow-through Q. Now do the fun play where you die to the enemy fountain. As Moon is going to take away these Raptors. Tuesday clearing out a ward. Got himself a Morello and some Sork Shoes, so looking good with 2 kills up his sleeve, like you said. Not a whole lot of gameplay on the side for Clutch in mid lane, but CLG doing a nice job playing around that power point in mid lane.
And interestingly, after the first turret trade that happened in the side lane, CLG did not send their bot lane up to the top side to continue doing it. They actually 2v2 now in the bot lane here, and what's nice about that is they leaves the Kog'Maw in an extended long lane. You see there's one deep ward down there on the side of CLG Academy. They probably want to get a couple more and use that mid-jungle pressure that they've gotten with those 3 kills in the mid lane to start roaming and making it unsafe for Piglet to walk forward to this long lane.
Makes the Ginsu's race feel a bit better as well, but Piglet has now finished his Rage Blade. As both a dagger and some one also there, so Berserker Greaves on the way soon, but again, with a bit of that extension, Auto should at least have his Rage Blade also finished, so won't feel too far behind in the 2v2, depending on where the teams want to put their bot laners.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It would have been really annoying if you were just in regular laning phase to have a Ginsu's versus not Ginsu's, but now that the lane is extended, you can get into these kinds of I push the wave into your side of the map, and I'm not safe, and then you push into my side, but now you're not safe, and it becomes an easier farming situation than it would have been with both turrets up.
Yep, Fallen Bandit also with a Black Cleaver, and Nara is pretty evasive in the side lane, so I have to think he's okay 1v1, especially with Omar having so much strength with that Tiamat. And looks like Cinderhawk plus Merc Tread's going a bit tankier here, at least for now, on the Warwick. Piglet, though, going to pop the Honey Fruit. And time to gank mid lane by the looks of things, but Ward going to spot them out as 3 members of Clutch moving aggressively towards CLG Academy's red buff.
Yeah, but they are on top of a ward that spotted all that in the river. And I can understand wanting to get the Syndra out of a mid lane situation, but it doesn't really, or the Azir, excuse me, but he doesn't fare much better in a side lane, so the lane assignments here are pretty tricky for Clutch Gaming.
Certainly are, as Omar also around. Phil's here as well. Just trying to start something. Looks like aggression going to pop. Omar with the E going to run towards Clutch. But just going to clear some vision out there. Did spot them with the sweeper, but again, Rift Herald's going to get popped, and it's time to siege the mid lane.
Yeah, here we go. 5-man push coming in. Max Turbo does have TP, but no really good wards to go to, so it looks like this should be pretty free for the side of CLG Academy.
Yeah, might even keep going. First one's the freebie in some ways, but CLG Academy is going to back off. Shelly's done her job, made enough space to take down that turret, and 2 turrets to 1 now, with just the Adder in top lane to try and take. And given the priority that jungle and top have for CLG Academy, you have to think that taking that one and getting a turret lead should be pretty straightforward here.
Yeah, absolutely. Send your bot lane up to that side of the lane, push in mid lane with that strong 2-0-0 Syndra, and then move up to threaten to dive if they try and contest up on the top side. CLG looking really good right now and have ways to extend this lead. We'll see if they can execute on them, because it's always easier said than done.
Well, you mentioned it already, though. Even though CLG's top side is doing a nice job kind of controlling the map here, Clutch are putting a lot of faith in Piglet and his Kog'Maw, which is still doing nicely. A little bit ahead of Auto, is kind of evened out with that turret gold, but again, relentlessly pushing in the long lane, not super afraid of the potential gank right now. And Piglet is the kind of player and on the kind of champion that can really open up a game if he's let free in a team fight.
And really interesting here, Phil actually followed the top laner Fallen Bandit. They're going to take this fight.
Looking for something here. Piglet starting. The Taragot protects the Gnar. Oh my god, they're going to get stunned as Max Trovo also down here. Again, Omar with a suppression, but Vulcan already took out 1. Now the Ornod's going to knock up 2. Tuesday also getting aggressed on, but they need a few more kits for the Braum passive. But a great collapse from Clutch, and they just pick up a kill.
Yep, they're probably going to be able to grab this turret as well. That's a lot of the teamfight ultimates out of CLG Academy.
Clutch also used theirs, but they've got more strength here as Auto stayed there on the top side. Flash burnt here in bot as Varus did take that turret, but like you mentioned, a trade here for Clutch as they take that bottom out of turret and get more gold where it counts.
Yeah, absolutely. All things considered, a good play by Clutch Gaming, assuming they can get up here and stop this turret from going down. Everyone's recalling. Max Trobo has already gotten back, so he'll protect this turret. And a nice trade up. Both teams get a turret, but Clutch get a kill. And it's the kind of situation where they really shouldn't have spent that much effort trying to protect that turret. You know, when you send your AD carry up there, the enemy team knows they can't teleport down there, so they're going to take a 5v4. And if CLG wants to just strictly defend their turret only down a man, maybe that would have worked. But they got aggressive. You saw Fallen Bandit leap in there, try and get the fight under their, you know, in their favor, but just not well coordinated enough.
Yep, nice flash from Piglet, protection from the Gnar ulti, and as a result, we all but even this game up. Less than 1,000 between the two as Piglet grabs a red buff, and we'll watch this team fight here again.
And this is what I liked. I liked Phil going down to try and dissuade the dive, but here's where they just get way too far forward. By the time this Taric ultimate comes in, Fallen Bandit's nearly dead. Now Omar God is simply too far forward because the other frontliner had to back out. So Omar God gets killed for his team's over-aggression, and then it's a 3v5 under a turret, and that's not going to work. So what started out as a decent conceptual idea was mis-executed on.
Certainly was. And as a result, Clutch, again, continue to get Piglet a little bit further ahead. Still up, 30 plus CS, has a Bilgewater Cutlass now built, so looking for that Blade of the Ruined King as the second item. We'll see what Auto selects as jump from Omar here onto Vulcan, but he pops back to Moon and he'll be safe from Omar's ulti.
Yeah, not quite what you want to see out of your Warwick ultimate. Now level 11, got 2 ranks in that. Syndra level 13 has 2 ranks as well. Need to find a squishy member. Now without that ultimate, not quite as scary,
what a great pass through onto Piglet, grabs a stun off the Dazzle. And now the initiation gonna follow Vulcan. Forced a flash, can't hop this time as Fallen Bandit transforms, gonna threaten Piglet, but Tuesday with a stun finds Piglet who's too far forward, and Fallen Bandit able to grab the Cogmore.
Really nice roam by Tuesday to find that stun and that kill. It's a 4v5 on the map right now. Need to see if they try to find an objective off this one. They could try and push in top. They have Ocean Drake ticking on them.
Darren also open, but Moon, I think maybe suspecting this, is going to hang around the area. Swept it already and does have some vision. Auto maybe going to face check. Moon zips out, pops his ulti though. Be able to go away undetected, but CLG Academy looks like nothing to find here unless they want to run down and take the ocean with Piglet still dead. But he's back up now, and I'm not sure they able to do much other than reset here. Yeah,
it's one of those things where they probably could have found something. We talk a lot about how in the LCS, when people find a pick-off, you want to see decisive action around there. Maybe they could have tried to escort the top wave in. Maybe you start the Baron, you're not really looking to finish, but maybe turn off onto Moon, who's a squishy Kha'Zix. You can try to find advantages. Instead, it just ends up in a reset, and now they need to find another pick-off to force an objective around.
Yeah, we can see how important it is to get the Cog, but not going to happen too many more times, although I guess we'll see.
Yeah, Piglet recently in Academy has been known to get caught a little bit.
Well, can't do damage if you're not stepping forward, Mark.
True.
Sure, that's the philosophy.
True. And I like what you were pointing at, how they used the Taric and the gap closing of the Warwick with the Q to be able to
that was sick.
Yeah, line up some stuns. That's very impressive stuff, showing a lot of synergy, showing that they know what the Warwick can do beyond just being a ulti bot.
Yeah, clearly somewhat of a practice pick here for CLG Academy. So Omar again just going to pop that scent. They're looking, finds one. Goodbye, Vulcan, maybe. Ulti down there from the Taric. That's offensive there as Vulcan does bounce away. Omar took a lot of damage on the front side, but Taric and Brent, a lot of that still here coming as all going to find a couple, gets a 3-man knockup delayed. That's Fallen Bandit, jumps in, looks to go Mega. Tuesday again, still trying to find stuns with Sun, able to take one down. Defensive dazzle there from Phil, finds Vulcan only as Max Trobo trying to find a little bit more. CLG Academy get away, but that one went south.
Gotta stop ulting that Braum there. You know people are going to be behind the Braum unless he's on those solo warding missions, so you drop a lot of damage onto a very tanky member of the side of Clutch Gaming. Not able to find that kill, and then they're fighting in a choke point versus Kog'Maw Azir. Not where you want to be at all. So there you see, right away, everything dropped on him. They dropped the Terror Gulp, but they only get 2 frontliners who have already used everything that they can do. So now they're trying to kite out of this situation. Azir and Piglet are just doing a ton of damage. They're lucky the Ornn ult did not give them anything else, as Fallen Bandit just gets pushed right out of there. He drops, and it felt like CLG's lucky to get out with only 1 person dying.
I have to agree. As Omar a little too hasty as CLG trying to find a pick around the Baron, but turns back on them. Clutch get themselves a kill and keep the gold nice and close between the 2 squads, as Ocean Drake did go down eventually. Looks like we've traded 1 apiece on those early Drakes, with the next one being Infernal. So as we tick through the midsection of this game, certainly getting to a point where this objective is going to start to matter more and more. First Baron, always important, and the Infernal, probably a pretty good prize to break parity on the Drake objectives.
Right, CLG have to be careful about losing many more fights like that around Baron. The Kog'Maw getting online, the Azir playing from behind also getting online. Those champs are notoriously strong at Baron, Kha'Zix as well, so you no longer need to get killed anymore. If you just lose a fight and everyone's too low to contest a Baron, it might go down.
Yeah, CLG, despite having decent team fight, I think certainly looking more for the picks. Nara is very conditional about when he can team fight. Ferris is good, but kind of needs to chill out and just free fire. And Syndra is okay as well, but obviously is much more known for individual burst and pick potential. So CLG Academy going to have to be a lot more cautious as they face check around these.
Yeah, Warwick as well.
Areas.
Yeah, just generally speaking, across the board, Clutch Gaming's comp should be the better 5v5 team comp. And like you said, if someone dies instantly and it's not a 5v5, then hey, CLG's comp is fine. But that's really what they need to do and what they have failed to do in the recent pickoff attempts on Braum. And Warwick himself is a champion that is not a great team fighter. He can start the fight off with his ultimate, maybe follow once with the Q, but that's about it. Otherwise, he's just running at people.
Which never been a super effective strategy. Apparently, League running away is actually a lot better. Shoutouts to Singed. As Baron was started here by CLG. Barasol finds Vulcan, but he's a great on ult there. Going to find a big knock-up. Tarikot going to immune the follow-up, but there's no follow-up needed. CLG, Clutch though, just going to play patient. Max Trobo still gets stunned up by a Dazzle, but very tanky as a dive back in from Omar. Trying to get some life back here, but he's not enough. As Azir and the Cog have enough damage. Pickle grabbing the kill. Another knock-up from Orr. The shuffle in from Sun knocks the rest of them back into it. It's just Thursday left as Clutch Gaming win a decisive team fight.
And once again, CLG going through choke points, kind of get punished there. They got the Ornn ult to bait out the Taric ultimate. That's a huge team fight tool that was down on the side of CLG. Definitely a trade up in terms of ultimates. Then they were able to win that fight after that runs out. Now they're forcing this Baron down. Tuesday, only one left alive, not able to contest it. Might actually die for trying.
Sun actually looking, but doesn't have his flash, so can't really follow. Tuesday with both Sums will stay alive, but Clutch Gaming, a big swing here in this game. They've been down 1,000 gold or more all game long, and all of a sudden, they grab the Baron and find themselves 2K ahead.
Oh yeah, see, Clutch Gaming is flying back into this game now, as well as the fact that they should outscale the team comp of CLG. They always have those Ornn items that they can build if they decide it's necessary. And once again, CLG start that fight off, Pastry. How'd they do it? On Braum! Stop going on Braum. They Varus ult the Braum. He puts his shield up. Not much damage coming in. There's the disengage on the Ornn ultimate to bait out the Taric. And now CLG has themselves split. They're trying to get through this choke point here. And they just keep getting poked out by the Azir and the Kog'Maw until MarkZ realizes they're going to lose the fight. He needs to try and go in. Does get a good amount of damage in. It's a lot of members low on the side of Clutch Gaming, so it was a close fight. But just too little too late by CLG. If they start that fight a little better, if they were able to hold on to the Taric ultimate, maybe they can win it. But once again, just not clean execution on their side.
And Sun, who's just felt so much pressure in this laning phase. Really nice as Zero to steal the back end of that fight and steal Otto's flash. I caught that in the replay. That's some bad mistiming on the Varus player side. Not going to be easy to win these next few as Omar again looks to try and find Moon this time. A little bit better of a target, but still the team is there to back him up. Piglet letting it go. Blue buff getting quick grab, but who cares as Piglet able to slay Omar. All there from Tuesday is enough to take down the Azir. Aggressive face check from Sun. Going to cost himself his life, but the follow-up still looking good. Fallen Bandit tagged by the passive, but it wears off the Frog. Winter's Bite, they're going to re-tag as Piglet trying to get the autos down. Max Trobo finds it with the soul on the other side. Taric auto saves Fallen Bandit for a brief second, but Clutch still moving forward. Piglet grabs another. Auto tagged as well by the Braum as Tuesday trying to fight them back through the choke point. Clutch Gaming 2-1 on that exchange.
Very close fight again in the jungle, but this time it starts on Moon by MarkZ. The Syndra stun follow-up just barely not in range so that Moon could get his jump out before that came in. MarkZ did time the Q correctly to follow it, but that's one time he didn't want to take it. Ended up way too far in. The team couldn't follow up, but then it's Sun's turn to misposition a little bit. He gets blown up there as well. So take another look at it there. Good start, but the stun was just a little bit too slow. And then MarkZ ending up too far forward in the rest of the team. He goes down. Sun goes over the wall, looking to maybe stream a shuffle. Gets stunned right away by the Taric, which is followed up on by the Syndra. 1-for-1 thus far, but they need to try and kite this out.
And they do indeed, but not for too much longer. Kind of tough to outrun a Braum and a Kog'Maw.
Yeah, a lot of CC there, as well as Max Trobo getting walled. Has to flash the wall to get the Ornny. Can't hop walls with that one, unfortunately. They are able to get the kill after that. Baron still on some members of Clutch, so they're continuing to push.
Only 30 seconds left with the buff, but enough to take down the mid-outer turret. Actually evens up the total turret score here in this game. And again, that Drake that's kind of been looming could have Clutch grab that first Infernal as it's spawning in 3 seconds as Piglet primes the bot wave for the next move by Clutch.
Unlucky by CLG Academy. Infernal spawning third dragon of the game after they already threw. Why couldn't that have been the first dragon for them, you know?
I know. Why couldn't they still have map control? It's crazy to think what would have happened.
Yeah, it would have been
some of the fights had gone differently.
Such a different game.
Well, instead it's Clutch finding team fight win after team fight win. 3K up now, and they grab that Infernal, which not bad with the old Kog'Maw Azir combo.
Nope, that'll be very useful in this game, and CLG have split the map. You see that while that Inferno was up, they knew they couldn't contest it, so they go topside, but it doesn't seem like they had any wards to throw down, so Clutch Gaming have the entire bot side littered with wards. CLG don't really have the same thing up on the top side. Clutch Gaming know that's where they are. They don't want to have anything to do with that. They go back down to their safety zone.
Yeah, actually just walking straight past him. Sun, maybe the target, zips over the wall. Omar still chasing, finds the ult. Now doesn't moving forward, but Sun with a good ult actually gets the rest of them out. Sun now going down to Auto. Sorry, as Auto grabs that kill, Ono going to knock a few back here as CLG Academy. There's not enough resources to win the rest of this fight, perhaps. Piglet's still there. Auto did grab a double in and amongst the mess as the tank line has fallen down, but Piglet just too strong. Takes down Auto, Fallen Bandits. Snarl not quite enough, and Piglet had the QSS just in case. Instead. Already.
Nice idea by CLG, able to find Sun. His teammate kind of left him and moved into that jungle before they actually cleared the minion wave, and Sun knew he had to do that so they couldn't get forced down the mid lane. But he was a little bit too far forward, dies, and then some slight misfighting on the side of CLG allow Clutch Gaming to once again win that fight with the man advantage. Piglet's still up, pushing down the mid lane, going to be able to grab their first inhibitor of the game.
Yep, mid inhibitor will fall. Little to no effort after that team fight win. Omar again playing up, but Falcon face tanks the stun from Tarek, and the rest of Clutch walk away.
Feels bad for CLG. A lot of these fights are so close. If they do one or two things differently, they might be able to find these. And they're always the aggressor. They're always the one going first. And you see these slight misplays that are really costing them in these fights. Clutch Gaming are playing them very well as well. So here, Omar God goes, doesn't want to stop, and they actually follow up on this pretty well to basically instantly kill the Azir. But here, the Tarek ultimate is late, and then Omar God, instead of running back to deliver it to Tuesday, runs to the side to dodge the Ornn ult. Yes, you want to not get Ornn ulted, but it's much more important to deliver the Tarek ult on the rest of your team that's going to get Ornn ulted anyways. And since Tuesday dies, they both lose their mid laners. It's 80 carry versus 80 carry. Piglet's much stronger, as well as having a better front line still alive, so that fight goes south afterwards. But you can see if they just play a couple of these things a little different, if they were able to keep Tuesday alive for longer, maybe they can win that fight.
And like you kind of mentioned when we saw the drafts, CLG Academy certainly with a lot more to execute on as far as champions go. Some champions we don't see that often, Warwick being the obvious one here, so a ton of differences here as far as how they approach, especially big 5v5 situations, and Clutch have just had the much easier job of letting CLG do their thing and then just cleaning up and capitalizing on a few of those mistakes. And we did mention that Piglet was the guy that needed to get things going at 6-1 and 4 in this game. Yeah. He's certainly been getting it done. And he's avoided a lot of the mistakes that had hurt him in the previous weeks where he's getting caught too far out of position. The big question for this game and Piglet was, if he does get a lead, can he avoid throwing it away? And thus far, he's done a great job of that. And the Clutch Gaming comp as a whole is really well designed for that purpose. You see CLG need to be the aggressors, need to be pulling the trigger on these pickoffs. Syndra, Varus, and Warwick all serve that purpose. But Max Trobo can disengage, Vulcan can disengage, Sun can disengage. They have so many tools for kind of letting these people go in on them that their comp is just so much better in these 5v5. Yeah, and it feels like even the tools that CLG Academy have in those situations, like Nara, like Tarek Gold, so many more things have to go your way for them to be effective. Your timing has to be immaculate in both building raid and pressing Tarek. Right. It's a lot harder than pressing E on Braum. Exactly. You know, so like you said, it's just a higher execution on the team fighting phase, and then Clutch Gaming have done a good job surviving the pickoff part. All right, well, we'll see what happens in the next few. It looks like a fight's brewing. It's Clutch's turn to get aggressive on the Phil. Gonna flash the wall. Vulcan finds the tag, does get the stun actually. Max Trobo looking for a few. Throws the ball down the alley, finds Omar as Fallen Bandit, jumps in, but he gets stunned right in there after the Mega Gnar. Damage still not enough. Again, Piglet kites out of the way, takes down that Gnar. Now the rest of Clutch are moving forward. It's gonna be real messy in the front side as Piglet grabs a double. Max Trobo finds the other. This is gonna be an ace as Omar's the only one left. Omar actually might escape. Piglet trying to find the snipe. Does grab it. It is the ace there for Clutch. The ace, the inhibitor is already down. And with that, the Shurima shuffle just for fun. Celebration ultimate there by Sun. Clutch know the game is all sewn up. They're going to take down the Nexus turrets. They're going to take down that Nexus and pick themselves up a win. CLG, we're looking for the sweep. Unfortunately, it's just the one game here. That was a good start to the game by CLG. They had their comp, they had their win conditions. They tried to execute on them, but picked the wrong targets. Clutch was able to survive those attempts and get back in the game. Really amazing play out of Piglet in his second game on stream. I feel like we've seen kind of the best and worst of Warwick in some ways. You can see what he can do in the early stages when he can get aggressive and gang. And even in teamfights, you could see some of the combos they were trying to build with the Taric, but like you said, as soon as he goes in, it's very difficult to get out, and when you don't get the perfect target, things go south very quickly.
Yeah, it does feel a little bad that he just has to kind of jump in there, and they had vision control sometimes. They just need to be a little less predictable with their ultimates, or use a less committal one, because you do have the Varus ultimate to start the fight as well if you're trying to pick somebody off, and that doesn't put your tank right next to the enemy team.
And on the other side for Clutch Gaming, you saw that really they were able to just, weather the early storm, find their footing here, and we actually have a replay coming up shortly of just how Clutch were able to surge back into this game, get that big teamfight wipe, and then kind of take over from here.
And this is exactly what we're saying. Too many ults down on Vulcan, then they trade the Ornn ult for the Taric ult. That's basically the biggest teamfight ult on the side of CLG down, whereas Clutch have a ton more. And so as they get kind of forced into this choke point, OhmyGod realizes he has to go in. Does get a fair amount of damage down, but there's just no more follow-up anymore. If you had a Taric ult coming on top of him there, that's a very easy team fight to win. Also, like you said, the timing on Mega Gnar, not able to hit it in that fight. Fallen Bandit was just hitting max rage right as that ended, and he dies as well. So just really hard team fight execution there for CLG.
I think credit also due to Clutch. They're just playing a lot of their spots really well, using their Braum CC. I mean, Braum often goes underlooked as a support, but because it is very simple sometimes protecting a player like Piglet on a hyper carry like Kog'Maw, but he had a lot of good moments, and I think Clutch were just on the same page about what the plan was. Even when they fell behind early, they didn't let it get ahead of them. They just kind of played out the game as their comp dictated it should.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially like with Piglet moving around the map, kind of breaking things open, they were fine taking the game slow, which is something sometimes Piglet can struggle with when he has the lead and the rest of his team is like, oh, we're pretty weak still. We don't really want to go that hard. Luckily, they were on the same page. Piglet didn't keep forcing fights down, and then the CLG mistakes started coming in when they tried to defend that turret 4v5. That was one that kind of started giving the momentum back to Clutch, and it just felt like as the game went on, CLG felt more and more pressed to find some kind of fight that would favor them.
Yep, and the harder they press, and the less they work, the harder it finds is to get an advantage back into the game. So I think also for Piglet, I mean, we've seen, a couple games from him now. That one was quite good. Others have certainly been not so good, and Piglet is a pretty emotional up and down kind of player, but I think a lot of credit is due here. His only death was a little silly, but I think there's not a whole lot you can do versus Syndra over a wall. Other than that, that's it. Just the one blemish on the record, and a hard carry game from the player we expect to be hard carrying.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you die once versus that insane pickoff comp, and it was, like you said, in a situation where stun hits you blind over the wall. Hard to fault Piglet on that one. And then the Kog'Maw play was really impressive all around, making sure that he understood his role in that team. Because sometimes you get the Kog'Maw and you feel buffed up and you're strong and you're chasing down enemy and trying to poke them off things. Not doing that this game. Making sure the Braum was the one in the front every single time. So if Clutch Gaming wanted to start a fight, it had to be on the enemy support.
Feels like homework was very well done there. I have to wonder, though, as far as compositions go, we talked a lot about how straightforward Clutch was and what they were trying to do. Was CLG trying to maybe be too cute? Because this is, again, 1 week. It's only 1 week, but 2 games in a row trying to play the same priority mid, priority top, get the jungler aggressive, move them into the enemy jungle and get stuff started. Like, we've seen 2 games, they won 1, they lost 1. You can kind of see how that plan might not always be the best, and it's not what we're often seeing in this metagame either.
Yeah, but I did like some of the ideas by CLG. I thought their first 5 minutes of the game was extremely well planned out. And this is something that if you feel like you talk about with the CLG org a lot. And I don't want to say, oh, it's always Tony, because, I'm not exactly sure who is the main coach. Plop, I believe, is the understudy of Zix, who is also working with the Academy team. But you see, Piglet has aggressive tendencies. We know bot lane will want to push for level 2 to get control of that lane. So top, we're going to have our jungler start up there and clear to bottom. We're going to hide the fact that he's doing that because Warwick is able to start without a leash. We're going to fake leash bottom, and then he's going to clear down. And then that's like the kind of game planning that you love to see. And it could have potentially really limited what happened this entire game, because if that gank works, they kill Piglet. He's no longer taking over the game. And at the same time, the side of, the mid lane's going horribly wrong as well. So they could have had 2 winning lanes by that Warwick if things went to plan.
Well, so unfortunately for them, they did not. It was a fun one, but with game 1 being just over, we are just getting started. TSM Academy goes